Freedom of expression is an extremely precious right because it allows us to come together to govern ourselves. And it's a right that's also very dependent on infrastructure. So as the media of communication change, so also does the nature of freedom of expression, and so does also its ability to serve its fundamental purpose, which is to bring us together to allow us to govern ourselves. So with the advent of the internet, with the advent of the social media platforms, we really need to rethink how we govern freedom of speech and which of the traditional protections get carried over, which get altered, what new protections we need, how the intersection between the architecture of these platforms work with the purpose of self-government. So that's a major challenge, I would say, that's international at the moment. Second, we tend to think about freedom of speech as bringing us together because we talk to each other about what we want to do. But it's very complicated to talk to each other because we have to have some modicum of good faith, some belief in common facts and common knowledge. And to the extent that this gets undermined and corroded by skepticism, by polarization, by various forms of extreme populism, it undermines the ability of freedom of speech to do the thing that we want it to do. And that, again, is a worldwide crisis. So culture always evolves, and it evolves unthinkingly. We back into positions as we adjust ourselves to changing economic and social environment. Academia is the point at which culture becomes self-conscious. The point about academia is to think about who we are, to think about what we want to do, and to think about how to accomplish the goals that we decide we want to accomplish. None of those is very easy to do, but that's our role in academics. So we need to foresee the dangers, we need to foresee the choices, and we need to inform the rest of society what it has to do if and when it decides to pursue one course of action rather than another. We're the thinking arm, we're the self-conscious arm of society. We're the arm of society that gives it knowledge. Private, social, activist organizations, civil society, is the part of society that presses for a change or presses to achieve certain goals. They see different social society organizations see different goals, and they try to press the political institutions of their society to achieve those goals. And it's extremely important that the political society be responsive to the demands of civil society and these organizations, rather than impose upon them the political branch's view of what's proper and improper. I think it's important for society to be bottom up and not top down in most of what it does. And the important part of the civil society organizations is to foresee a certain vision of the future and to press the political institutions and their peers in civil society to attain that vision of the future. And of course, there's going to be disagreement among different civil society organizations. And that's the nature of politics, and that's the way it should be, because in the course of that disagreement, the issues will become clarified. The choices for the society as a whole will become more evident and defined in a crisper and more useful way, and that's the function of civil society, the way I see it. One has to understand freedom of expression in the context of the particular culture in which it's happening. It's not an abstract thing. It concerns the realization of certain values, and anytime you realize a value, you're always doing it contextually. And there are 1,000 implicit considerations to consider, which will differ from, say, North America and Latin America. Considerations about the role of political parties, about the role of individualism, about the meaning of democracy, about the effectiveness of government institutions. These are all different in different parts of the world, and in particular between North America and South America. So we have a lot to learn from each other because we can speak about these things sociologically and abstractly. When it comes to actually doing the work, You cannot do the work for us in North America, and we can't do the work for you in Latin America. Everyone has to work in their own house. And, but we can have conversations, we can share resources, we can share different efforts to solve the problem, and we can learn from each other very much in these ways. So when movement organizations get involved in politics, they get involved in the compromises and the bargaining of which politics is made. And anyone who gets involved in politics is always in danger of losing their soul. They sell their values for the power to accomplish something. And you can't avoid those bargains. You can't avoid those negotiations because purists never get anything done. And the key point is to understand what's essential in your agenda and not to make a bargain ever that compromises what's essential. But one can make, nevertheless, many bargains about things that are not essential. And it's keeping a clear grasp on what the fundamentals are of what you're trying to achieve. That is the only pole star of civil organizations entering politics, in my view.